Welcome in, everybody. We're talking about practice number 5. I am Tony Parlay Reyes. Joining me today are my friends Chris Billings and Nick Kerr. How are you guys doing today?
Doing good. Thank you guys for having me.
Man. Heck yeah.
We've been talking about this for a while. It's good to actually do it.
Right?
It
right.
is.
We're gonna change it up today, and we're talking about some basketball. The hoop heads are uniting here, and we're gonna share our thoughts on the Western Conference, Eastern Conference, MVP talk, and maybe some surprises. Share our thoughts on what we've seen and what we think, and some of our takeaways on the season. And I'm gonna start us off with the Western Conference and the Suns destroying the NBA this season and impressing every single person that watches them, except for one, Chris Billings, and him calling them a fraud team. Please explain to us why the Suns are a fraud team.
Oh, I've told you, man. We've talked about this offline that I have no faith that this team can win an NBA championship. Although, like in past years, I've watched the Bucks win a championship. I've watched the Raptors win a championship. But no, like to me, like honestly, like the Suns remind me of the 06, 07 Mavs, when they just had the best record in the NBA, got squashed in the first round. Now I'm not saying that's what's gonna happen to the Suns. Don't worry there. But no, I don't think they can win an NBA championship. I think it's just a lot of scoring. And I say this as somebody that has loved Suns teams of past. That like I thought for sure we're gonna win NBA championships, but they didn't. When it comes to the playoffs, it's all about matchups. It's not about small ball. It's about your half court approach, and I don't see the Suns being able to do that. I think eventually when it comes down to, they're going to get an unfair matchup and they're going to lose in probably the second round.
All right. What do you need to see from the Suns to be convinced? And who is this matchup with in the second round that upsets them?
So potentially could be the Mavs or Utah. Like I think both those teams could beat the Suns. Especially Utah. Like Utah has the defense, I think, to go toe to toe with the Suns offense. So yeah, right there. And then just beyond that, looking down the line, you have like Golden State Warriors, I think are a much better team than the Suns. And they know how to play in the playoffs. The Suns, not necessarily. Like, yeah, it's cool to be, Suns and 4 last season where everything was running hot, but no, like there's some expectations for this team this season, and I think they're gonna not rise to those expectations.
All right. What are your takeaways from the Suns, Nick?
See, I do think they're a really good team, but I agree with Chris that they're going to run it into someone down the road, and I don't think it ends up with being them a championship this year. I think they run into either Golden State or possibly even Denver in the second round, or Memphis in the conference finals. I do think that they possibly get to the conference finals, but I don't think they make it out.
God, what the heck is with this Suns disrespect?
It's all going to depend on the health of Chris Paul. You never know. He what happens? He pulls something in the first round.
It doesn't sound like that even matters. It sounds like even with the healthy Chris Paul, both of you doubt that they could win the title. Am I wrong?
Pretty much. Yeah. Like I don't like. Like
I don't see him as a championship.
Yeah, I don't think they have the post depth when it comes down to like I said, matchups against like the Jazz, the Warriors. I kind of disagree, unfortunately, with Nick about the Nuggets. Like unless they have Jamal Murray in some capacity, like there's no shot there for the Nuggets. But yeah, I don't think the Suns have the size really to compete in the playoffs, especially the Western Conference playoffs.
Wow. All right. Well, I thought it was going to be like they're going to lose to whoever they play from the Eastern Conference. Doesn't matter. You
If
guys
they do make it out of the West, they will lose to an East team.
again,
Yes.
just a repeat of last season.
Yes.
Wow. All right, I guess we will see. I've watched a lot of the Suns games. I mean, they look pretty solid. Goddamn, so well coached, deep team. The Grizzlies are pretty similar. They have another deep team.
But in
like
terms
that.
of the Suns, I'll throw it back to you. Like, what have they done to like improve like that size from last year? Like, that's eventually what like killed them in the finals.
They have JaVale McGee. And like that's like
Come
enough,
on, man. You're like, oh, we got JaVale McGee and Bismack Biyombo. Like, come
Like
on.
that's filling that role. Like that's enough. That's the backup center role. They have Ayton. They have like Chris Paul, the half court maestro. And so I'm just like, man, like like who wants to run into that team in the playoffs? And you're like, oh, they're gonna lose in the second round. And I'm like, to who? Like, how is this gonna happen? They're just gonna like run these teams off the court.
I honestly think there's a lot of teams out there in the West that would like to take on the Suns.
Man, I don't know. I guess we'll see. We'll see if this 06-07 Mavs comparison holds up, and if they fall short. I guess, man, this Mavericks team, you talked about that. Maybe we should talk about them a little bit. What's the deal with this Mavericks team? Are they like legit, or is Luka just like carrying this team and they're just a bunch of moving parts around him?
I honestly think it's like kind of Luca that's like what's been short about that team. Like the expectation was that he was gonna rise to the next level this year, that he was gonna be like a true MVP caliber player, like that he was gonna be, I mean, effectively what Devin Booker's doing for the Suns.
What's different between them and the Nuggets?
The Mavs and the
Yeah.
Nuggets. A lot of things, a lot of things. I mean, just like in terms of like emphasis on the offense, it's through Luca, whereas like we have Jokic facilitating the offense, and I mean, really, we just have like a bunch of role players that are distributing the ball back and forth until like Jokic gets like a favorable matchup.
Isn't that what the Mavs are doing with Luka? Like, who's their second best player?
I mean, it was supposed to be Porzingis.
And now it's like, what's his name? That Dinwiddie guard or whatever.
True,
know.
yeah.
They're a little smoke and mirrorsy to me. But like I was like, Stars make the final sooner than you think, man. I wonder if like the Grizzlies or the Mavericks could make that leap.
I think the Grizzlies are more primed to make that leap than the Mavs right now. Like, yeah,
agree with
how
that,
come you're
yeah.
not talking about the Grizzlies right now?
Well, I don't understand that team, man. I don't understand that team. Like John Moran is gone and they play like a better team. And it's like this Desmond Bain guy all of a sudden is like a legit two guard in the league and has like step back threes. I'm like, Desmond Bain? The fuck is Desmond Bain? I'm like drafted out of TCU and like I was like, who the hell is this? I don't know. Tell me I'm wrong. Do you tell me you guys know about all these Grizzlies players that are like shredding it? I'm like, who are these guys?
I'm with you there. I have no idea who any of these guys even are, but
Fucking
somehow
Kyle
they still keep
Anderson?
winning.
Yes.
It's
they
just
keep
that
winning.
next man up mentality. Sometimes
True.
that takes teams further. It's a team game.
I know. That's why I'm like, you're thinking the Grizzlies could be a surprise pick out of the West? That would be
I
fucking
do.
wild.
I do. I actually have them taking the Suns in 7 games.
I think
conference finals.
that's honestly a team, like you talk about a team that nobody really wants to go up against. I would say that's more so the Grizzlies than the Suns.
Wow. Or the Warriors? What about the Warriors? We need to talk some Warriors if we're in the West here. Talked about the Warriors.
I was high on the Warriors earlier in the season, but man, they've sure just like dropped over the last couple months.
They're
Yeah, health's definitely
interesting.
going to be an issue for them. If they are not a healthy team, I got them losing in the first round to Denver.
This guy. I don't know. We'll see what's going on with them. They're an interesting team. I feel like they've been trying to develop that bench with like the Kaminga, Moses Moody, and these young guys, and letting like Wiggins actually. God, dude, fucking Wiggins. Let Wiggins actually be like a little better. I don't know. They seem like they're trying to be a pretty good team. Jordan Poole's gotten a lot better. I don't know. We'll see. They're a dangerous team. I wouldn't be surprised if the Warriors won the West, but I this Grizzlies team, I can't solve them. I can't figure them out. So I don't know if anyone else can.
Thing about Golden State is like just Steph Curry performances alone can win like 2 playoff games for that
Yep.
team.
Yeah.
Just
Clay
by
looks
him
good.
going off. And
Clay
yes,
looks good.
Clay's
looks
looking
good.
healthy.
Yeah.
Draymond's Draymond.
God, Jesus Christ. What a dramatic player. What a dramatic player. All right. Unless Billings wants to talk to us about some of this Nuggets love that he has there with his shrine going on as his Jokic to win MVP hopes are dwindling here. Tell me what's going on there.
I wouldn't say dwindling. I'd say
Come
actually
on.
been increasing over the past while. Yes, like the Timberwolves game last night. Not ideal for his campaign. But I'm confident. But no, the Nuggets, their biggest issue is like without Jamal Murray or at least like MPJ, Michael
Yeah.
Porter Jr. Yeah, like they just it's a cast of characters just surrounding Joker, and that's not feasible. That's not going to win a championship. So yeah, it bums me out that the Jamal Murray things set him back so much. And then yeah, Michael Porter Jr.
That's
It's
just really
seeming like that's
unfortunate.
$200 million that could have been spent better.
Yeah.
I think there's some hindsight. There's some hindsight there.
There's
Little
some
bit of
buyer's remorse going on in the Mile High City.
You got tricked. He was like crushing it in the bubble. You got tricked.
Yes, that's you. You want to talk about a Ponzi scheme?
Let me talk to you about Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was part of that Anthony Davis bubble stock. It's just an illusion. It's an illusion, not actually real.
Speaking of which, let's talk about the Lakers. Are they going to make the playoffs?
I don't think so. They've lost what? The last like 26 games or like 6-20. I don't see them coming around and taking it. I think the Spurs are going to take that 10 seed and go into that playoff bubble. The little playoff bracket.
How's LeBron allowed that team to be that bad? They stink. They straight up stink. And I've seen like dudes that work at Kmart put around LeBron in Cleveland, and they were a better team than fucking like Russell Westbrook and Anthony Davis and Carmelo Anthony. Like they stink. They're bad. Like they're not gonna make the play-in. This is fucking terrible. They
went with a guy named Russell Westbrook. That's why.
They traded for the wrong Wizard player. They should have traded for Beal. If they would have traded for Beal instead of Westbrook, that team would be completely different.
I thought I was reading that they had Buddy Hield. That was the deal in place. So even if they get Buddy Hield, they're probably a little bit better. But they stink. They stink.
Like pretty much any player would have been better than Westbrook. It's like set him so back, and then yeah, just getting rid of Caruso was a poor decision.
Anthony Davis is the clumsiest fucking player in the league. Dude flops all over the goddamn court. He falls every game so much. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
I agree with you there.
Fuck that team. No, they won't make the playoffs. Let's answer that question. Chris starts eating. He's like, yeah, fuck the Lakers. Let's eat some pizza, celebrate that shit.
Even if they somehow grab the 10 seed, there's no way they're going to win 2 games to get into the playoffs.
The Pelicans are the 9 seed right now. The Clippers are the 8 seed. Kawhi Leonard was a great investment. You see that? They're making the playoffs over the Lakers.
The true LA team.
The
Clippers.
true LA team. They're like the Rams. All right. All right. Let's move more into our wheelhouse here with the Eastern Conference talk. And I'm gonna hand it over to Nick to talk to us about the culture.
Our heat culture connoisseur.
Yeah, heat culture
The culture.
connoisseur. The culture
culture.
of the Miami Heat. Tell us about
Yes.
this number 1 seed Miami Heat.
All right, I think the Heat are going to stay the 1 seed into the playoffs. I think they have a favorable schedule the rest of the way. I think during that 4-game losing streak, I think they may have been tinkering with their lineup a little bit. You know how Spo likes to do. But I think I don't even think the lineup we have right now will be okay.
Time out.
What's up?
Does Jimmy Butler know how Spo likes to do? Just asking that question. Just asking that question. Or is that just a little too much cafecito in the Jimmy Butler big face coffee that morning? Like what happened in that situation?
I think he had a little too many shots of Cuban coffee that morning.
There we go.
And I don't know. Udonis didn't take it well. Tried to tell him what was up. Wasn't too happy about it. Spo, not too happy about it. But most of the time, that happens on the practice court every day. It's just part of that culture.
All
You
right.
got fired up individuals, and just sometimes in the heat of the moment, it comes out. But they've said it before. They'll say it again. They're all brothers. They do it for the culture.
The culture.
I'm not worried about it. Sometimes sparks like that is what ignites the team. So
All right. So winning the conference, number 1. Any team you don't want the Heat to face in the
Honestly,
playoffs.
I wouldn't want to face the Nets in the first round
The
because
Nets.
that Ben Simmons unpredictability. You never know what's going to happen, but it might be better to face him in the first round because there's no cohesion there. But I do think the Nets are going to play the Bucks in the first round. I see that happening. Other teams that I'd be afraid of playing in the first round, it'd be all from that play-in. And the other 3 teams in that play-in, Cleveland, Charlotte, Atlanta, not really worried about
Garbage.
them. Yeah.
Garbage teams. What the heck is going on here?
Beyond that, maybe a second-round matchup with the Celtics.
Get out.
Those teams always get
team I'd
fiery
worry
against each
about.
other.
Why? Why are we worried about the Celtics? Let's first of all right, let's rewind this. Let's rewind to where Billings wants to pick this up. Nets. Why are you what's your thoughts on the Nets, Billings?
That team stinks. Like zero chemistry. Like I love Steve Nash, but he's a terrible coach. Like that team's just pure dysfunction. Like it might as well be like an AAU team. It's just a bunch of dudes and like a clueless coach that's just like I got put in this uncomfortable situation.
Wow.
Prove me wrong. Tell me where I'm wrong.
Nick doesn't want to face him in the first round.
Just because
I
of Ben
wouldn't want
Simmons.
to.
I'd
I'd rather face them later on. I would be less afraid to play him in the conference finals than I would be in the first round. If that makes any sense. Because at least if Ben Simmons comes back in the first round and we don't play him till the conference finals, Spo's got 2 rounds of tape on what that offense looks like. Because I'm not worried about their defense at all.
Like I'll say it right now. If the Nets make it to the NBA finals, like NBA is fucking broken. Cause like that team's just been pitiful all year. Like that whole experiment over there has just been like ridiculous and a clown show. And so yeah, like I'll say it. Like if the Nets get to the championship, I I'll have to reconsider my relationship with the NBA, much like I did in the early 2000s.
So yes, they're haunted by the clown shoe size of Kevin Durant. Is that what you're telling me? That's why the Nets aren't able to succeed.
They are. They are.
I don't know how he doesn't trip and fall every day with those feet.
Them sideshow Bob shoes, just man, yeah. I don't know, man.
Dude,
I was
pictures of
looking
him
this,
in just socks. It's just weird.
I don't understand it either. I was trying to look into a little bit of this perception that Kevin Durant's like the best player in the NBA, and he hasn't made like an all NBA team in 3 years. And I'm just like, wait, what's going on? He's like gotten more respect after they lost to the Bucks last year, and
He spends more time on Twitter than he does in NBA court lately.
this guy just slaughtering these players, Kevin Durant,
Hey,
guy's
I
pretty
used
good.
to be like one of the biggest KD supporters, but like, goddamn, like, does that guy need like a public relations specialist or something? Because like what he's done to his career the last few years is just insane, man.
He's speechless. KD
I am.
has the man
Like,
speechless.
you consider like what he was like when he was like beloved, like Oklahoma City, like Thunder, like Kevin
Mhm.
Durant, like what he is now, and it's almost a 180.
Yeah.
Like think about how loved he was after that MVP speech to his mom.
Yes.
And then it's just been like where it's just like you're just a Twitter troll and a fucking like you got all these burner accounts, like you're just constantly fucking with your ears out listening to the bullshit out there, and you've just made some of the weirdest moves ever.
The Golden
Like-
State years ruined him because he got so accustomed to winning so much that I don't want to say he felt, I don't want to use the word entitled, but like he expected to be playing an NBA championship every single year after those Golden State.
Well, he was entitled because he thought he was behind the success of Golden State. And it's like, no, you were the outsider that came into this
Mm-hmm.
and had success. Like now, like where I disagree with Kevin Durant is I think he just should have stayed in Golden State. Like stay there and be just a dominating force in the NBA. But he's the one that was like, no, like everyone on Twitter is fucking shitting on me and I gotta go prove myself. And then he chooses of all teams the fucking Nets. Like, and so yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Out.
I'm
Out on the
beyond
Nets.
over it with Kevin Durant. Yeah, and then
Well, with the Nets, he probably chose the Nets because Jay-Z sold him on being a billionaire. Like Jay-Z tried to sell LeBron back in
Mhm.
2010. He said,
Yeah.
"I'll make you a
Oh, so
billionaire."
basically you're just continuing down the path of Kirkland brand like LeBron James.
Yep. Yep. All right. Well, speaking of which, Kevin Durant, self-perceived or maybe by internet perceived best player in the NBA, lost his 5 last matchups against Giannis and the Bucks. Are they like disrespected champs? Is this Giannis guy a disrespected player? It does seem like he is coming for that Jokic MVP billings.
No, he's definitely not coming for that MVP. That's just like last year where like the media, particularly ESPN, just had to like tack on like, and they do this constantly where it's just like, oh, well, is like Chris Paul suddenly a contender? Like is Steph Curry suddenly a contender? It's just more so they can continue a discussion. So no, like I'm not buying to Giannis being MVP this year, but I would agree with you that they're sort of disrespected champs. Like they're a good team. Like they very well could be repeat champions, and they're not getting the credit as such.
I don't think they're a better team than they were last year. And then you had the factor of that chip on their shoulder last year. They don't still have that same chip on their shoulder after winning the championship. Plus losing PJ Tucker, huge defensive loss for them. Brook Lopez working his way back, but he missed the entire season. I don't see them being as good as they were last year. Disagree?
Giannis 16-1 to win MVP like a week ago. He's like 6-1 to win it today.
Those are
Dominated,
still big odds though, like, and we only
dominated.
have like a week left.
Well, I mean, the Bucks are the 2 seed. I could vary 1 game behind Miami. I could see Milwaukee getting the 1 seed in the East. Giannis has dominated Kevin Durant and Joel Embiid in back-to-back games on the road. And it seems like he's kind of look, his numbers are definitely in that conversation. He's going to be averaging what, like 32 and 13, 6 assists or something. And they have like the 1 seed in the East. It's a pretty good team, man. He could definitely have a pretty good little narrative for that story for him to win that MVP.
That's predicated on they're taking the 1 seed, which I don't see happening.
We'll see. You're
Because
it's 1 game. It is 1 game. It's
it is 1 game
schedule.
plus Miami has a conference tiebreaker, so it's
That's
basically
true.
2 games.
That is true.
Miami has a favorable schedule. Milwaukee still has your Bulls, the Celtics, and Dallas tomorrow. So I don't see them taking the 1 seed. I see them taking the 2 seed. Probably get in the Nets in the first round. We'll see what happens there. That series can go 6 or 7. You never know.
That is true. That is true. I don't know. This Bucks team seems like a sleeping giant. They're just, God, Giannis is fucking making threes now. Like, get the fuck out of here, dude. Like, what are we supposed to do when you're doing shit like that?
They're a good team. They're a good team. But to Nick's point, like, he thinks they're probably worse than they were. I don't think they've improved from what they were. But like, I will agree, like, they're a dark horse team because that's just the narrative in the media. Once again, like, nobody wants to talk about them because like that's old news. They want to look at the new shiny things. But yeah, like, Bucks are still a good team and they're very much a threat in the East.
Mhm.
All right. Picking up where you dropped it, new shiny things. Sixers got Harden a month ago. New shiny thing. And it doesn't seem like they really made any move up the standings, or they really haven't improved very much. Was it a good deal?
That's because Harden's not that good.
No, he's not as good as he once was because the most important part of his game got taken away with the new rules.
Yeah.
He can't flop to the line all game. He's not taking 16, 17 free throws anymore.
So Embiid should get the last shot in close games. That's what you're telling me.
And from a completely unobjective
He's like
sense,
90 Shaq.
Oof, yes. Like that's what I was gonna say. From a completely like unobjective sense, like, I hate watching those Sixer games now because of how often they go to the line. Like, it's painful to watch these games. But hey, like, that style of play, to be honest, could be very successful in the playoffs.
No, get the fuck out of here.
It can be when the game slows down in the NBA playoffs.
Yeah, like,
Get out of here. Who are they gonna beat? Who are you picking who are they beating in that Eastern Conference? If the Heat play the Sixers, you think the Sixers are beating the Heat? I don't think so. I think
they'll frustrate the Heat to where it could go like 6 or 7 games.
Yeah,
I think Butler's like ready to fucking pop a gasket because of just like how often they're going to the line.
Yes.
James Harden will choke big time in that series. Bucks, they would choke in that series too. I even think the Celtics would probably beat them in the series. Yeah. Bulls, probably not. Embiid like dominates that Vucevic guy. It's not good.
Got all scared.
Yeah, not good for the Bulls. But those other teams, the Nets would definitely cook the Sixers. That wouldn't even be like a close series. They'd be all scared. So let's talk about this Celtics team. Are they legit?
Yeah.
Why?
Like, that's just like they're a gelling team, man, and Jason Tatum's like rising to the next level. Like they might actually have like a star in him. Like and I mean like a full-fledged like NBA star.
Yeah, it's back to the bubble Tatum
Yeah.
that year. Basically took a year off, worked some stuff out. Now he seems to be back. But it wasn't that way the whole season. It seems like coming of late, this is second half of the season, he's been trying to take that team to a new level and they've been on a run. Can they sustain that run though?
Yep.
Is Jason Tatum better than Kevin Durant?
No,
No, I
like,
wouldn't.
but
He can play as well sometimes, but Durant's ceiling is higher at this point. Can Tatum get to that point over the next few years? Possibly.
and just like the thing about the Celtics though is like their defense is just phenomenal right now.
Mm-hmm.
And like they're just what they're doing in terms of just like getting boards and whatnot, like like that, like to me that translates so well to playoff basketball. That's why to me I would say the Celtics are the team you don't want to face right now, because just their style of play for what they're doing right now, like they can crush teams.
Interesting. You don't think, but that Robert Williams injury.
That's a huge part of that. He anchors their defense, so that's going to be huge on them.
He'll be back. He'll be back.
Who's his backup?
What Tice?
Tice.
Yeah, Tice.
The,
Definitely.
I don't know if Tice can still be a starter, play starters minutes. So
Yeah.
depending on how long he's out for that injury,
I don't know either, but
because Tice is definitely a good backup. He's someone definitely you would want to have as your backup center role.
who are you picking if the Celtics play the Nets?
I take the Celtics.
I think Celtics.
Good Lord. Wow. That's bold. All right. Interesting. All right. We did talk about this MVP talk a little bit.
I don't know why.
If it's not going to be Jokic, who is it going to be?
It's down to Jokic and Embiid.
I agree with that.
Like plain and simple. So it really just comes down to like it's down to games at this point. Like they're that close that it's gonna come down to single game performances for the rest of the season.
Yeah, because you can't even take seedings or their team play into it, because both the Sixers and the Nuggets have about the same record. So it's not like one is like significantly better. So yeah, it's going to come down to these final 4 games.
Yeah, like 4 or 5 games left so
I think it's down to those two, but I think Jokic does end up taking it based on the fact that he won it last year. If Embiid would have won it last year, I could see Embiid repeating.
I think that like if it weren't for Joker, the Nuggets would be irrelevant team. Like he's very much carrying that team on his back, especially this season with no Jamal Murray or Michael Porter Jr. And so yeah, like
But Embiid was surrounded by role players all year too, until they traded for Harden because Ben Simmons sitting out. Like it was supposed to be Ben Simmons and Embiid, but with him sitting out and then getting traded to the Nets, Embiid's only had Harden for what, month and a half, 2 months?
Yeah,
longer than that.
It's just I think media members probably like the ones actually voting probably agree too that it's not fun to watch Embiid's style of play this season. That's just not fun.
The NBA has changed, because I do feel like he is like 90 Shaq, but the NBA has changed into more of a 3-point league where his style of play is boring, and I can agree with that. I could see your point with there.
Giannis, eyes on Giannis. He's coming, man. He's coming. They get that 1 seed. Watch
Unless
out.
like he suddenly just gets like like 2 or 3 50-point games here at the end. I don't think that's gonna happen.
We'll see. We'll see. It's gonna be good. Let's talk about some surprises. Billings brought up the true LA team, the Clippers. The true LA team, the Clippers, currently slated to make the playoffs in the play-in at the 8th spot. Why are they such a big surprise to you this season?
Just because of like how much was invested into that team. Like they were supposed to be like a guaranteed title contender year after year. And the fact that they're just like relegated to crap this year, like albeit it's because of injuries, but damn, like yeah, that's one of the surprises for me of just like the Clippers performance, like in general, like Lakers, like even the Lakers performance has been a surprise. Like I knew that Russell Westbrook signing was not ideal for them, but like damn, I didn't know it was gonna be like drop you out of the playoffs bad.
What is your biggest surprise this season, Nick?
My biggest surprise, the depth of Memphis and the way that they've been able to respond with Ja Morant going down and still stay in the 2 seed in the West.
That is true. They are just stupid good. I don't understand that team. I don't understand it. Yeah.
If the Bulls and the Cavaliers would have played the way in the second half of the season that they played in the first, it may have been a 50-50 between those teams.
They fallen off, man. Injuries took both those teams down, man. Injuries took both those teams down. Fucking Cleveland. How the hell are the Cavs good and the Lakers are not good?
They got those twin towers over there.
That's like honestly, like
Heat had problems with them all year.
It's cool to see in the West this year to see like, you know, it's not all about like LeBron James anymore. Like it's about your Devin Bookers, your Ja Morants, and your Lucas, and
your boy Jokic.
Yeah, Jokic, and like what's his face out in Utah? Sorry. But like yeah, and then like you got like Minnesota, what they're doing like with their young squad is awesome with Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns. Like it's cool to see. So it's like that gives me hope for the future of the NBA, where like I want to continue this relationship with the NBA, that they got some young talent. But yeah. Nets, don't you fucking make the NBA finals or I'll be pissed.
Chris's relationship with the NBA is dependent on it.
Sounds like I have an abusive relationship, to be honest.
I can see that. I can see that. That's what LeBron will do to fans. That's what he'll do. He'll wear them out, according to Brian Windhorst. So, you know, that man knows. That man knows. He's been following LeBron for 20 years. I put Timberwolves probably biggest surprise this season.
Yeah, Nick. So like I gotta say this to you though, like how we feel about LeBron James is how you feel about Tom Brady. I just want to say that, man.
Yes, I understand that.
It's just like leave us alone.
Yes.
We're just tormented, but yeah. Bro, the Timberwolves are making the playoffs for the first time in like 20 years. I thought they were like the Kings. I was surprised when I looked at their record and I was like, oh shit, Cat, that T-Wolves team is actually making this freaking playoffs. It's insane to me. So kudos to them. That was my biggest
shout out
surprise.
To BS Sports Desk. You know, correspondent Joe Cool TV. He called it. Said Anthony Edwards beginning of season. He was gonna be well, he said MVP candidate, and I wouldn't go that far, but no, he's been like damn good season.
True. Pretty impressive. Do we talk about LeBron James here? What is next for him? Does he continue?
Do we talk about LeBron James the GM or LeBron James the player?
I don't know, man. God, dude, what the fuck is this guy's plan? Does he just want to wait for his son?
Hey,
I
this
think that's
is where
the plan.
Shout out to Nick. Pat Riley was right. He was right.
LeBron wasn't fitting into that Heat culture.
No way. I think, yeah, I agree with you. I think he waits it out until Bronny comes in the NBA. I think Bronny's eligible 2024, and LeBron Senior has one more year on this deal, then he's a free agent. I think after this contract with the Lakers, he plays it one by one. Wherever Bronny gets drafted, that's where he's going, and he'll retire knowing that he played with his son. That Ken Griffey Senior, Ken Griffey Junior moment.
Son of a bitch.
It's it's so predictable. It hurts.
This movie sucks.
So it's gonna. Bronny probably isn't.
Oh.
He probably normally, if he was not LeBron James' son, would not go one and done. But because he is LeBron James' son, and he knows that a team will take a chance on him, or in the second round.
What's the over under on Will
Because-
Smith playing him in the movie?
Oh, yeah. It's going to be fun to watch LeBron on the fucking Thunder in like 3 years with his son. That's his
Playing with
fucking-
like the Orlando Magic or something.
Yeah, there we go. I don't know. We'll drop some championship predictions to wrap us up here. Who is your finals prediction, Nick?
Not even a question. Miami Heat,
Versus
Memphis.
Heat Grizzlies. Billings, who you got?
I think the Bucks will probably win it this year. I think they'll be repeat champs. Most
Wow.
likely.
Bucks. Who's coming out of the West?
Oh, I'm gonna say Warriors just because I shit all over the Suns to begin this show. Can't really say them now, can I?
Wow.
But that's Vegas's favorite is the Suns at plus 300. Next is the Bucks, but I'm going with the Bucks. I think they're a dark horse team at this point, which is weird, saying that the champion from last year is almost like an underdog in a certain sense. So yeah.
Interesting.
What about you, Tony?
I kind of lean your way. I kind of feel like Warriors, Bucks, Warriors, Heat. I could see either one of those teams winning. It really depends. I think it's just going to come down to one of those teams. I think that Luka could make the Luka or like Ja Morant could push the Warriors far in like a 7-game series, but I think the Warriors are going to put it together and win the West. But
Don't
don't
you
know
have
who's
money on the Warriors though? winning a
the Bucks are
champ-
the only team I don't have money on winning the title, so we'll see what happens. They'll probably win it. They'll probably win it to fuck me
Oh,
over.
don't put that out there.
that's
No.
most likely what's gonna happen then.
Yeah, probably. All right, let's wrap it up. That's end of We're Talking About Practice number 5. Thank you for watching, everyone. We got Chris Billings up there. Plug whatever you'd like to plug, sir.
Check us out at Sports Desk BS on Twitter to get more sports content. Or if you want to check out movie and television content, check me out at Billing Space.
Nick, joining the Twitterverse. What do you want to go ahead and talk about or plug here?
I just want to say thank you guys for having me. Glad we were able to do this. Can't wait for football season.
Same. Happy to have you. Welcome back anytime. Looking forward to football season as well.
Go Broncos.
There he is. Check out any of my stuff at tonyparlay.com. I'm also on the Twitterverse as Tony Parlay. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have yourself an enjoyable Sunday, Saturday. Look at this guy eating pizza, distracting me. Have yourselves a great one, y'all. Getting this lunch